Progress.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
I was worried I was going to be late.
Yeah, I don't know where is everyone, and also nobody has camera on. I don't know. Something happened. Ah, here is Sue.
Sue.
Everyone wants to hide.
Dr. Fellows.
No hiding.
Oh, I have my camera off. Sorry. Didn't mean to do that.
For some reason, it started with it off. It turns itself on with it off.
I always set it to have no video or audio when you join, just in case you're maybe doing something that you don't want recorded.
Chewing
Good answer.
the last bite of your dinner before you get on camera.
Good answer.
Blowing.
Yelling at your dog.
Hello, Mr. Fellows. Hello, everybody.
Ooh,
Who's
everybody.
yelling at their dog?
Apparently, Lisa.
Is Gus there?
No, he's not here.
Oh, you're yelling at him in absentia?
Sadly, he is not here. He's at home.
All right. All right.
Progress.
Okay, so do we have everybody, David?
I think that we do. Just waiting on Barrett Prince.
Barrett's
Is
here.
that right? Oh, he's on the second page. Oh, there he is. Yeah, Kevin. Kevin let me know that he was going to be late. He has his training tonight for school. So, but he will jump in when he can, if he gets out at a human hour kind of idea. So you have the calm.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I would, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Lisa Carter. I'm the superintendent, and we start the meeting off because we are welcoming new board members. Welcome to you. And we start this meeting with electing officers. So I will call the meeting to order at 5:31. And I would like to open we're going to start with nominations for the office of the chairperson. So we'll open the floor to nominations for the chair.
I'll nominate Mr. Velson. Return command performance.
Okay, can I have a second?
Yes, I will second that nomination.
Okay,
Very good performance in the previous assignment.
any additional nominations? Hearing none, can I have a motion to close the nominations, please?
So moved.
Second? Who's the second? Natalia? Okay, thank you. All those in favor for closing the nomination signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, thank you. So all of those in favor for having David Valson as your next chairperson or continuing chairperson of the Salisbury Central Board of Education, please signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, any abstentions or nays? Nope, seeing none. David, this is now your meeting. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for your continued trust in me. I look forward to disappointing you all. Thank you, Lisa, for taking care of that part of it. The next order of business is to elect a vice chair. Do I hear any, can I open the floor now for nominations for vice chair of the Salisbury Central School Board of Education?
I nominate Barrett.
Do I have a second? Excellent work. Any other nominations? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to close the floor for nominations.
Sure.
Thank you, Jackie. Do I have a second?
Sure.
Great, thank you, Tom. All those in favor of closing the floor for nominations, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining. Thank you. All those in favor of electing Barrett Prinz, the vice chair of the Salisbury Central School Board of Education for the upcoming term, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Opposed? Abstaining? Thank you. Always vote for yourself, Barrett. Always vote for yourself. Thank you very much. Next office that needs to be filled is secretary. And that is someone who, the main responsibility is signing checks when the chair is unable to sign checks. There are other things, I'm sure, in the policy, but that's the day-to-day jobness of it, which has happened, I think, to you once, Barrett, right? So I would open the floor for nominations for secretary.
I nominate Natalia.
Jackie's getting in there quick. I like it.
Thank you, Jackie. She's doing a little, I think she's doing a little nujitsu.
This is some strategy. I should.
You know, I told Kevin, he told me he wasn't gonna be able to make it. I said, usually we vote the person who doesn't make the meeting chair. So just so you know.
Oh, yeah, I could have
So
voted.
he's sweating in his training right now. Do I have a second for Natalia as secretary?
Second.
Thank you, Barrett. Any other nominations for secretary? Hearing none, I entertain a motion to close the nominations for secretary.
Motion.
Thank you, Tom.
Second.
Second, thank you, Jackie. All those in favor of closing the nominations for secretary, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Hearing none. All those in favor of voting Natalia Smirnova as secretary of the Salisbury Central School Board of Education, say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstaining? Hearing none. Congratulations, Natalia. Get thee to Salisbury Bank. Sue will explain to you what has to happen. Well, thank you, everyone. And I just wanted to welcome Thomas Carter and Ms. Dittmer to our merry band. I know that we're kind of hitting the ground running. So if at any time there's a procedure or something that we're headed off tonight that you just have a question about, please feel free to stop and we'll clarify things. And I know that Lisa is arranging for the new board members an orientation. I think it's December 9th, Lisa, is that correct? Which is, I find very helpful. And sometimes I do it regardless of whether I'm new or not, just to remind me of what my job is. And we've also got packets. I know that Sue is going to provide for you with a bunch of materials. Again, outlining the duties and responsibilities of a Board of Education member. But I'm very, very pleased you guys have stepped up. It is valuable and well-paying service. So thank you very much. It means a lot. It's I think we're very fortunate to have a great school in our community, and it's only because people volunteer their time like you guys are choosing to do. So thank you. And the tremendous professionals that guide us through it all, don't get me wrong. The next order of business is a spotlight on learning, which is, I believe, going to be a video presentation. Is that right? Or are you guys gonna?
I'm here to share it through my screen, if that's okay with Raiden. I don't know if she wants to say anything prior
You're
to
coming
the
through
video.
Raiden or
Hi,
Kira?
I don't need to say
Yes.
anything.
You just need to hold that baby up higher.
Yeah. So we
Here.
might want to say hi, but that's it.
Okay.
It says it all. Thanks.
Okay. Let me just get set up here.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Well, Sue's doing that. Just to back, I'll also Tom and Liz make myself available to you guys at some point. We should be a quick Zoom just so that if there are questions that you guys have of me directly, we could have a little session. So, I'm sure I won't be able to educate you any better than what Lisa's provided, but just so you understand the ebb and flow of what we've been doing the last couple of years. So we'll talk about that. After this.
Okay, ready? Turn your volumes up because the kids are a little soft-spoken, and with the masks on, it's a little hard to hear. So if your volume's up, you'll have a better chance of hearing what they're saying.
Hi, I'm Ava. And I'm Annie, and we are the 8th graders of the Board of Student Leadership. Student leadership is made up of 7th and 8th graders with the help of Ms. Basinius and Mrs. Neary.
As a committee, our goal in student leadership is to bridge the gap between our school and our community. We started off this year with the fundraiser for student leadership and the crop walk, which raises funds to end hunger and poverty. To accomplish this, we organized a coin drive, where students from all grade levels brought in spare change and competed for who raised the most. Elementary grades won extra outside time or popsicles. Middle school grades competed to win a pizza party for their grade. And 8th grade would end up victorious. We were able to raise over $2,500 and we donated half of it to Crop Walk.
Next, we focused on Halloween. We asked students and family to bring in candy for reverse trick-or-treating. Student leadership dressed up and walked around to distribute to houses in town that got a lot of trick-or-treaters. Throughout the middle school, we had a decorating doors competition. Student leadership members read Halloween and fall-themed books to younger grades. Then, the day after Halloween, student leadership members walked around to clean up the streets for Halloween. Our newly elected 7th grade board members are Hadley Casey, Charlie O'Connell, and Faye Hall.
In the coming weeks, we will be speaking at our annual Veterans Day Assembly, where we honor those who have fought for our country. Next, we are organizing a Thanksgiving food drive in which students will bring non-perishable items to help out the corner food pantry. We've had lots of fun spirit days, like anything but a backpack day and crazy sock day. We're always looking for ways to raise awareness for various topics, groups of people, or issues faced by people in our nation. So far, we have raised awareness for suicide and mental health. We have many great things on deck, including a school auction, ways to improve our school grounds and make them more functional for students and their families, and other possible fundraisers to raise money and continue the good we do for our school community and in our town. We've gotten off to a great start this year, and we are so excited to continue to make this school a better place. Thank you.
There you go, Sue. That was great. I thought they spoke very clearly. I don't know if you cranked your volume on that end, Sue, but I could hear them very clearly. They projected. They used their theater voices. That was great. It's that student leadership down at the middle school has been, I mean, in the last, particularly in the last, I want to say 3 years, 4 years, it's just been so kind of proactive and not timid and generally exhibiting leadership and making choices and kind of, you know, changing things and shaking things up and making sure that they're involved. And it's been a lot of fun. You know, Stephanie, I will meet with them every once in a while. It's just been a lot of fun watching them get stuff done, you know, with some great guidance, you know, from Ray and Kira, but it's inspiring. I wish I was that involved when I was in school at any level. Thank you, Ray, and thank you, Kira. Is she here? Yeah. That was great. Any comments? No.
We'll have to be a proud dad. 2 of my daughters were in that video, and they have really loved student leadership last year and this year. And it's, you know, mostly because the teachers have given them an opportunity to actually do stuff.
Yeah.
And I think student leadership could just be a check the box, but you guys encourage them to actually do things, and they really, really have enjoyed it and have learned a lot. So thank you. It's very valuable.
And I mean, you know, I think not only encouraging them to do it, Barrett, but like letting them do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We'll keep you from bumping into the walls, but go down the lane and get it done. It's been great. Well, thank you. Next, we have approval of our minutes from our previous meeting, which was October 25th. Obviously, the new members will have to abstain, but do I have a motion to approve the minutes from our October 25th meeting as submitted? Thank you, Natalia. Do I have a second? Thank you, Jackie. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the minutes of our October 25th regular meeting, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Thank you. Tom and Liz are abstaining, right? So you got that. Next is our financial report. Ms. Bucieri.
Hi, everybody. Just a very brief introduction of what this report is about for Tom and Liz. Each monthly meeting, I will provide this report, which gives a summary of expenditures for the current fiscal year through the month previous to the month of the board meeting. So this report is through the end of October. I created the summary page, which is the front page, to make it a little bit easier to look at the different sections of the budget without getting lost in the detail of each of the individual lines. And the goal is really just to kind of keep pace with where we are in the fiscal year and in the school year. So on this cover sheet, you can see that we're 23% through the school year, and the budget has been expensed by 25%. So that's, you know, that's a good thing. It means we're right on pace. Usually if there are some items that I think are of particular interest, I will mention them and explain them. Other times, like this evening, when I don't have really anything substantial to point out, I will just take questions from anyone if they have questions. Obviously, this is your first time looking at this report, which mirrors our budget. I'm not sure if you've ever had an opportunity to look at the budget document, but you'll see that they mirror each other. So at some point, if you have questions about the layout or what some of the lines mean, I'm more than happy, you know, to chat with you about what some of the items are. We'll start the budget process for 22-23 at a budget workshop in February, early February. And that's when we really get down to, talking about individual lines of the budget. But if you'd like to, have a conversation about it prior to that in preparation, I'm more than happy to spend some time on the phone or however you want to do it, just going over things. I'll say in general, things are going well. We haven't had really any unexpected expenses, no big surprises. Where right now I'm almost ready to send information to central office for our Easter 2 grant, which is paying for a 5th custodian that we have on staff right now due to the additional responsibilities that team has with COVID, sanitizing and cleaning. So that's excellent and exciting news that we're ready to submit for that grant. And we're compiling expenses for the Easter 3 grant, which we're plugging away at. So, right now, fiscally, we're doing well. And if anybody has any questions about the report, I'm happy to answer them.
Anybody have any? Yeah, Natalia?
So Sue, I want to explain to us why the principals, we only spend 30% yet, but for assistant principal, we are at almost 60% of expenditure. I know it's some kind of weird.
I guess not.
Special thing. Hello? Hello?
So did you hear that, Sue?
Yeah, bad connection today was.
Yeah, Sue's connection may not be good.
Well, yeah, we can't hear you, Sue. No, Sue?
Yeah, it was kind of the choice I made when I started doing expenses for this fiscal year. Yes, I heard. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can now. You're very choppy and your video's gone, but yes. Yeah, we can hear you, sir.
Well, let me go out and come. Well, I can't go out because then I'll close the meeting.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Let me see.
Is Lou streaming video games again?
No, Sue, you're muted now.
Okay, is that any better?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, I closed out some other programs. What I decided to do at the beginning of the year was expense everything for the assistant principal out of the assistant principal line, even though the actual expense for that position was budgeted for in the assistant principal line and the certified teacher line. So as we go through the year, the assistant principal line will look like it's over, but the certified salary line will actually show a surplus because everything's being expensed out of the assistant principal line. And I just thought it would be easier to track that expense by taking it all out of one line instead of splitting it between the two. So for, going forward with new budgets, it would be easier to compare expenses.
So therefore, when you finish the expense for assistant principal, right, because it's only 2/3 or whatever, then you will start diminishing the certificate.
No, all his entire salary will be expensed from the assistant principal line.
So the
And
actual,
none of it will come out of the certified teacher line.
so the actual
So-
cost is very evident.
Yes,
The cost of creating that position will be one line. People don't go have to search for what it costs to create.
right. But it won't have an impact on the total educational salaries bottom line, because that's all within the same section of the budget. Does that make sense?
Thank you for that explanation, Sue, because I thought you were going to say I was only getting paid through March.
No.
We didn't tell you this was seasonal work, John? Seasonal. Any other questions for Sue? Hearing none. Thank you very much, Sue, as always. Any written communication to the board this month, Sue?
No.
No, thank you. Any public comment this evening on any agenda items? Hearing none. Moving on to regional school and Board of Ed committee reports. I don't know if our newest Region 1 rep was going to be able to join us tonight, but it doesn't seem that he's here now. But for those who haven't heard, Keith Moon was elected to be our Region 1 Board of Ed representative. And I think he'll continue the great work he's done for the kids in this region at that new table. And he doesn't really, I don't think, have anything to report on it, but Lisa could, because since he's, I don't even know if he's had his first meeting yet, has he, Lisa? No, but Lisa can, you're muted, Lisa, but Lisa can kind of catch us up on what's been happening down there at the central offices in high school.
I'm sorry, David, could you repeat that?
I said, you have the floor and can fill us in on what's been happening down there at Region 1.
Oh, with the Region 1 board meeting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or just anything you want to share about either the high school or Region 1.
Think back that far. Wasn't expecting to do this, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I have to remember what happened at the Region 1 board meeting. Hold on, I can get the agenda really quickly. Well, we did meet. Pete Vermillier talked about a new class that they're offering. It's actually a state mandate, but it's a class that they're pretty excited to add to the course curriculum, which is a survey course on the history of Black African American and Puerto Rican Latino studies, and that starts next year. It's a full year course. It is a course that was designed by the State Department of Education. A lot of people had input to the course. The curriculum is actually quite dense, and there's training that goes along with that the teachers will have to take this summer. So that will start next fall. He also talked about this project that's going on at Troutbeck. Have we talked about that here?
We have not yet. I'm aware of it because of Salisbury School, but
it's a local history project. It was actually the brainchild of Ronan McCrisky over at Salisbury School with Pete Vermillier. They asked, Ronan asked Pete and I to meet with him this summer, and they decided that they would look at Troutbeck because there's the people that own it now are so aware of the rich history of Troutbeck. And I think that what caught Ronan's attention about this is the sign that's on the side of the road there that sort of marks Troutbeck is a tribute to white Enlightenment thinkers. But really, Troutbeck has an enormous history of being a meeting place for the first, the origins of the NAACP, as well as being very well connected to the artists and performers and writers that are affiliated with the Harlem Renaissance. And the people that started the Troutbeck, the Spingarns, were widely celebrated at their time for being extremely inclusive and welcoming people of all color to this area and celebrating everything about their culture. So there are about 11 schools that are participating in that project. Salisbury Central is one of them. And there will be a sort of a history day kind of celebration and exhibition sometime in April but it's all inquiry-based projects, and there's been a tremendous amount of enthusiasm that was generated around that project. So it's pretty exciting, and at some point you should probably have a spotlight on student learning to see what the students at Salisbury Central are doing with that. Let me just see here what else we had on the agenda. They're going to Quebec in May, so field trips are starting to happen. They're going there's a field trip to Costa Rica and to the Galapagos Island in December, and then kids going to Quebec in May. Then we had a bunch of housekeeping around hiring coaches and meeting calendar, and for the rest, that was basically it.
Great. Thank you, Lisa. Any questions for Lisa about what's happening at the high school, Region 1? Hearing none. Thank you very much, Ms. Carter. Building and Grounds Committee update. We don't have a heck of a lot to update you on. We did receive bids today for both lawn services and snow removal. We reviewed them. There are some clear winners. We'll look at them at our Building and Grounds meeting this Thursday and announce it next month to you guys. But we'll inform the winning bidders as soon as we've kind of made a motion to do that at the Building and Grounds. We didn't see a huge jump, and they're all familiar community players. So we're very pleased with the way that went today. I don't think there's anything else that there's a few we're going to be carpeting the ramp to the gym, which will help us preserve the gym floor, we think, during the winter months once we start to make more use of it. It's something we toyed around with a while back and put off, and I'm very excited that we're going to be doing it, because I just think it's going to kind of pull that whole lower lobby together and really protect our floor. We obviously have not gotten the RFP for engineering and moving forward with the energy use assessment that I talked about last month, but that's in the works. And what else, John? Is there anything else I'm forgetting? Building and Grounds wise? I don't think so.
That's it.
Yeah. All right. ABC committee update. Not much to share with you guys outside of some items that we're going to touch on later. We basically just all agreed that we should go to our individual boards about this new policy workflow that we're going to try and implement region wide. So, we'll dig deeper into that later, but there was nothing else. We are meeting this Wednesday, and we're going to be looking at our shared services budget. We are going to do some finish up with this region-wide policy update, because we will have gotten feedback from all the individual boards. And we're going to begin discussing the assistant superintendent staffing for the coming school year. Any questions about ABC? And just so new board members know, the ABC committee is the all board chairs committee. So it consists of the 7 board chairs of the school boards in the region. And we basically have oversight over all our shared services. So that's it. And, we also participate very much in the upper leadership of the region, being the superintendent, and also participation in the hiring of the assistant superintendent. Any questions about ABC? Hearing none. Great. Moving on to one of the big McGillas, which is our 2022 Board of Ed meeting schedule, or meeting dates. So I hope everybody had a chance to look at it. I'll let Sue and Lisa and John kind of lead us through this. If anybody has any questions. Why am I not finding it?
Traditionally, our meetings are the 4th Monday of each month, with no regular meeting in December or in July. occasionally we'll have a special meeting, but so the schedule is kind of based on that fourth Monday of the month pattern. The second meeting on this calendar is a special meeting that was started last year to give an opportunity for all the boards to come together to discuss the calendar for the next year. That's a special meeting for us. It will be held in conjunction with the other boards, local boards, and the Region 1 Board of Ed. Then we have our budget workshop, which we've done the last few years, which is very helpful to just dedicate one special meeting to the budget itself, because it tends to be a lot of discussion around it. So it's easier to do it as a separate meeting than in one of our regular meetings. Then the other items that are in red are Salisbury Board of Finance or Salisbury Town meetings that are related to our budget. And we encourage everyone to come join in those meetings if you can. Stephanie does the presentation of the budget because it does come from the principal's office. But it's always nice to have Board of Ed members there just to show their support and, you know, maybe answer questions that that come up. And the rest of the meetings from May on just kind of mimic the pattern of our fourth Monday of the month. The exception is August 1st. And we do that because if we waited till the end of August to meet, we would miss the opportunity to do things like hire new staff that need to be done sooner rather than later. So because we don't meet in July, we do an early August meeting to be able to take care of that business before school starts. The only thing on here that is really, I think, something that should be discussed is Monday, April 25th is a regular meeting date for us, but it's also the date that the town has chosen for the public hearing on the budget. Public hearing, the budget, is an opportunity for citizens of the town to ask questions about the budget. And so it's an open forum with Stephanie is there answering questions, David answers questions, and then of course reps from the town are there to answer questions about their budget. We usually have our Region 1 rep there to answer questions about the high school budget. And it is unusual that it falls on the same date, but in this calendar it does. Our regular board meeting will be at 5:30, and we will be having it as a Zoom meeting. And then the public hearing will be at 7:30 at Town Hall. I spoke to Joe Cleveland today, and he said that their plan going forward is that their meetings will be hybrid. They're going to do in-person and Zoom, so that if we do our meeting as a Zoom meeting, you could potentially do the public hearing as a Zoom also. But we just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention in case people feel like that might be a lot to try to fit into one evening. So I don't know if anybody has any questions or comments or concerns or advice or...
The other thing that we just want to make sure we point out is that through April, we're allowed to conduct our business exclusively on the Zoom.
Lisa did confirm for us at our agenda meeting last week that we will be allowed to continue with Zoom meetings through the end of April. And then the expectation will be that we'll go back to in-person meetings after that.
With the option of doing it as a hybrid, but I looked at our discussion and we'll discuss ourselves. I just don't think that it just ends up being technologically messy, as opposed to saying, if we can't do it solely Zoom, we're going to sit in a room together and do business. So that's where I'm leaning, but we'll discuss it as we get closer, I think. Does anybody have any concerns about the dates as laid out here? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the meeting
Everyone,
date. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Barrett.
just one quick question. So
Yeah.
on the Tuesday, on that April 25th date, you and Stephanie need to be at the town meeting? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll just plan accordingly so you have time to get there.
We would just, I think that, yeah, well, we would either attend via Zoom or we would just make sure we've loaded it lightly, as best we can so that we can be about our time and hop over there. Yeah, and Stephanie felt that, it wasn't, that there weren't going to be any changes necessary that wouldn't have already been kind of handled, that, she's not going to be going from that April 25th down the street to the other meeting with a bunch of budget changes that we just asked her for. That presentation, any presentation of the budget proceeding in the public hearing will be just, fine tuning,
Yeah, I think what probably what Stephanie and I,
That's you. Sue?
Anyone hearing a lot of feedback? I'm hearing
Yeah, I am.
no, I was just going to say that I think it'll be fine for Stephanie and I. We may do the Board of Ed meeting as a Zoom meeting from school and then go right from school to town hall to be there in person for the public hearing.
So any other questions about the calendar as presented? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve these meeting dates for 2022. Thank you, Barrett. Natalia, second. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving these meeting dates for 2022 as presented, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Thank you very much, everyone. And thank you, Sue and Lisa and Stephanie in absentia for hammering this out. I know there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of masters to be served. Next is a little bit more housekeeping. We need to appoint a Salisbury Recreation Commission representative from the Board of Education. I've been serving in that capacity the last few years. I'm happy to continue unless someone else wants the gig. It basically consists of a monthly meeting with a lovely group of people, just kind of helping Lisa McAuliffe keep our kind of robust recreation programs up and going. Anyone interested in it? All right, if anybody wants to nominate me, I'm happy to accept the nomination.
Yeah, I'm going to nominate David.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll second that.
Thanks, Jack. Any further nominations? Any further discussion? All those in favor of me serving as our representative to the Recreation Committee, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Thank you very much. My wife will be sending you all very mean letters. Next is appointing an ABC committee alternate. So this is in, if I were unable to attend a meeting, it would be somebody representing our board that would sit in my place, since I'm serving as chair. So typically, Barrett, it's been the vice chair, I think, that we've asked to do that. I would certainly nominate you to do so if you're willing to do it. Again, I think Dave, when he was serving as the alternate, had to attend one meeting in my recollection of it. So it's not a huge responsibility. I try and be at all of them. I take it pretty seriously. So, but if someone else would like to nominate someone else besides our vice chair, I would certainly hear that out.
I got a second on Barrett then.
Ah, that's excellent. Excellent, Jackie.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Sure you can.
Should have been told this before I accepted that first nomination. Sounded like a conspiracy. If for some reason I am traveling. What do we do? Do we just ask another
It's
board
just, you know,
member?
there have been times where chairs have sat empty. There's a vice chair, like on the ABC committee, there's this whole structure too. So like I've been serving as the chair of that committee. I don't know if I will continue in that capacity or not, but there's also vice chair that, you know, in my absence once actually, well, I think it was a middle school committee meeting, but you know, we'll run the meeting. So it's preferred that we're always there and represented, but it's not essential. There are some meetings where it is, like where really big decisions need to be made. And that usually has to do, quite honestly, with, you know, with the hiring of personnel. So, and budgetary things, you know, so from time to time, but there's usually a lot of advance notice for that. It doesn't just pop up out of nowhere. So if it's just a run of the mill meeting, it's not like, oh my God, we don't have a rep there. You know, we can certainly put a word in edgewise with the other members of that committee. And it's a very honorable, you know, kind of crew of people. So yeah, so basically if for some reason you were really unable to attend, Barrett, it wouldn't be the end of earth.
Sounds good.
All right. Hearing no other nominations, I would entertain a motion to appoint Mr. Barrett Prince as our ABC committee alternate. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Natalia. All those in favor of Barrett serving as the ABC alternate, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Thank you very much. And now we have to appoint a Region 1 Board of Ed alternate should Mr. Moon not be able to attend the meeting and feel that our presence was necessary at that meeting. Again, I have usually been in that position. I think my recollection is that I've always been the Board of Ed alternate, the Region 1 alternate. I think it's appropriate that the chair do it, and I don't think that that Barrett wants any more responsibility. So if someone is so moved to nominate me to do that.
Yeah, I'll nominate David.
Thank you, Natalia. Thank you for your second, Jackie. Any discussion or further nominations? Hearing none, all those in favor of appointing your board chair as the Region 1 Board of Ed alternate, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Thank you very much. Moving on. So a discussion of our region-wide policy review process. Lisa, do you want to just lead that discussion?
I think
Yeah.
my goals are before that.
Yeah. Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I checked it off without even doing it. Yes, they are.
Okay, I don't mind.
Trying to keep things moving, Lisa. So the superintendent's goals for 2021 and 2022. Lisa?
Okay, so you should all have the document that details what I presented last month as the sort of general summary of what I thought my goals would be. I provided you with the details for that. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time just to say that I provided you with a sort of a graphic image of what the framework for the social emotional piece should be, and I'm happy to answer any questions about that. But the important piece of that is we provide a strong foundation around social emotional learning in all of our schools. And when we understand that our kids are struggling for whatever reason, that we have very well thought out strategies and opportunities for them to have to work with teachers and their peers in the building to address any challenges that they may be facing in their social emotional development in the same way that they do with their academic development. And then with the for goal number 2, it's really, again, articulating a lot of the conversation that we've been having in board meetings about our ability not to just give assessments and report the data to you, but to have a warehouse where we really store that data and that it becomes more than a test score, that it becomes part of how we understand the child's development and their ability to have access to curriculum. And we put that together with the social emotional data and making sure that we're looking at the whole child. We're very excited to finally have a platform where we can do that, that not only stores data, but stores notes that teachers have when they have meetings around students. So the data really becomes evidence, and we become a values-driven organization that uses that information to push us further along our goals for deep learning and understanding. And then the third goal is, I think, the most ambitious, and that's the one for the, reimagining the high school, if you will. And not that there's anything wrong with it now, but it really needs, I think, to be, we need to think 5-10 years from now, what does it need to look like in order to attract and retain families in the community, and provide them with really a more contemporary opportunity to have access to a lot more choices in the next steps. So it's building on the strengths that we already have to expand that out further. And I think we're really lucky that we have a strong platform to build on. So, that's a brief summary of everything, and I'm happy to take any questions, suggestions.
Lisa, I would like to, first of all, excellent goals and description of each sub objectives and stuff. So of course, I personally love number 2 very much. I hope that you will, through that work on achieving those goals, to really develop the understanding how we can move Salisbury Central School children towards higher performance achievement than we so far have now and a couple of years ago. So I'm really rooting for you to achieve that goal.
Thank you. We're digging in.
Any other questions or comments for Lisa on these goals? And just so everybody knows, at the ABC committee level, which really is charged with coming to an understanding with the superintendent and evaluating the superintendent based on these goals. We all were, very inspired by her goals, are in full favor of it, and voted to basically bring it to each individual board. I don't know if I want to call it for your ratification, but I guess for you to sort of charge your ABC rep, charge me with your assent in supporting this framework that she's presented us, as it's going to serve as a tool for evaluating her work this year, more than anything else. So that's what we kind of want to walk away from this tonight. That's the action that might be in front of us. So any other questions? Thank you, Lisa. It's really, sorry.
Dave, do you want a motion as
Yeah, I think we need, so if
for your
there's no
support?
further discussion, yeah, I think we need a motion to basically endorse these goals as presented.
I move, or
Thank you.
Natalia can move and I'll second.
Yeah, all right, there you go. Any further discussion? All those in favor of endorsing these goals as presented by the superintendent for her evaluation, for the purpose of her evaluation at the end of the 2021-2022 school year, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Thank you very much. Thank you, Lisa. It's very inspiring, and I wish that you win beneath your wings.
Thank you, and thank you for your confidence.
Yeah. Next is actually the region-wide policy review process discussion. So again, Lisa.
So you have another document there that is the fleshing out of this idea that we introduced last month, which is a more efficient and I think collective way to evaluate the new policies that come out of CABE every year. We get them about every 3 months, and I do the same policies set with 7 times in 7 different meetings, and we do them at 7 different board meetings. So I think for the purposes of some regional continuity plus to some efficiency, when we get those policies, they should be evaluated by this committee that I'm recommending. Then what this committee will produce is a good first read. So for example, the policies that we review in January, will become a first read for the boards that meet in late January and into February. And then if you want to customize them for your school before the second read, you can do that, especially where there's regulation that is involved that may be need to be customized to be more particular to your school. So that's the long and the short of it. Tina and I have already started working on the proposals, policies, for the January meeting. And I'm hoping that this will be a more efficient way. I will continue to work on the audit with everybody to get you through the rest of the policies that you need to do for your audit. This is just for those new policies or those revisions that Kay proposes. So are there any questions?
Yeah, I have a question, but you just answered. So everything we already have done, we just okay with that. It's just for new things.
Right, and you're going to continue, like I think we're on the 4,000 series now. We're going to, you're going to continue to get the 4,000 policies, the 5,000, the 6,000 through the end with that are for Salisbury Central. This will be a separate set that has to do with new policies.
This is moving forward. Yeah. So we're going to continue to take action on the audit that we're working our way through. And hopefully, I mean, let's knock on wood, but by the end of the school year, I would certainly anticipate we'd be done with it, God willing. And then moving forward in the maintenance of policy books region-wide, this just seems like an incredibly much more efficient way of doing it, especially for a superintendent who's leading us through it. So, everybody seems to be in agreement that at least at the ABC level that this is the best path forward. So it's just a matter of each individual board signing off on it and agreeing to it, which is where we are now. And obviously, this is a framework that can be amended as we work and realize that, Lisa realizes there's some inefficiency, we'll correct it, as we go forward. But so I would entertain a motion for this. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to participate in this new region-wide policy review process as a board. Thank you, Barrett and Natalia. Any further discussion or questions? All
David,
those
you
in,
are going to need someone who's going to be the Salisbury rep.
oh, we'll get to that.
Okay.
Yeah, we will. I mean, I think that we do have to do some committee work also, as far as making sure people are still on the committees they were on, and to offer our new members an opportunity to participate in the committee work. That can be done outside of an official meeting, actually. But I do think that, everybody needs to think about participating in, when do you anticipate, this would help, I think, Lisa, everybody get their head around the responsibilities. When would you anticipate this work being done? In other words, what time of day, et cetera, et cetera?
We'd like to have it be done during the school day, if that's possible. We have thought, I think the first meeting Tina and I would like to put on the books for January 13th. I think we said, I'm just looking, 9:30. January 13th from 9 to 10:30.
Got it.
We just didn't want to add another evening meeting.
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm just thinking about, the board members' schedules and their flexibility and ability to attend. And, we'll have to have a powwow about what people's schedules are. I'm fairly aware of everybody's, except I guess for Tom's. And anyway, but I would entertain a motion to what's the motion? To
Approve.
to approve the region-wide policy review process as presented. So I think I have a first from, who was it? From Natalia, and a second from Jackie? No? Who was it? Somebody
Yeah.
raised their,
Jackie raised her hand.
Oh, okay, great. So any further discussion? All those in favor of approving the regional-wide policy review process, say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstaining? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And yes, let's start thinking about somebody that wants to do it. You know, Barry, you know, you have the mind for it, but now you don't have the time for it. So, you know, we'll keep relying on you to do cleanup work for us when we actually bring it to this table. And next is our Board of Ed policies and review. These are all first reads of our 4,000 series. So take it away, Sue, Lisa. Jan?
Can everybody hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. So when we met at our agenda meeting last week, we also went over this group of policies, which is for first read, and will be put on the agenda for the January meeting for second read. And all of these policies are recommended by CABE, and all of these policies mirror the policies that the Region 1 Board of Ed has. So we're in agreement with their version of these policies. I don't know if we need to go through them. I think as a first read, if anybody has a question or a concern about any of them, we could address it. They're all pretty short and sweet. The nepotism policy, employment of relatives. Anybody have any questions about that one?
No.
No.
Does it apply to the student activity?
The second one is conflict of interest. You were broken up, David. I couldn't hear you.
That's all right. It was a very funny joke. Go ahead. Nothing. That's all right. It was a very funny joke.
I feel like we should be on a commercial for bad internet service or something. Any questions about the conflict of interest policy?
I do have a question, Sue. So, and I'm sorry, I'm just reading this now.
The next one is staff student non-fraternization.
Hold on, Sue. Barrett's got a question.
And
Go ahead, Barrett.
Sue, can you hear me?
yeah,
I can.
go ahead.
So the conflict of interest, I just
Yes.
read it quickly, but it makes it seem like the only conflict would be as if you accept a gift, which is a very narrow definition of conflict of interest. Is this is the CABE approved one?
It is. I have to admit, Barrett, that there are times when their titles leave a lot to be desired.
Okay, so this is really accepting of gifts, not conflict
But
of
yeah,
interest.
right.
Okay. Because yeah, like a conflict of interest is if, like, you know, Dave's opening the bids for the landscaping and my brother's the landscaper. And I gave him the inside information, he's gonna get it and kick me back, you know, 10%. So, okay, this is really acceptance of gifts.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, there's a super delay. I can hear myself talking now.
Yeah, no, I know. It's weird. It's like it's an echo.
Yes.
All right. staff non-prioritization. Does anybody have any
Okay,
questions?
the next one is staff.
Yeah. I say hi to everybody. Come say hi. Hello, we have a special guest.
Hi.
Any questions on the next one?
Yeah. Thanks. Not hearing none. Social networking is next. Yes. Which kind of juice? What kind? Oh yeah, one of the little, yeah. Sorry. Are we all frozen? Or not just many of us?
No, now we're ready. I think tutoring is the next one.
Okay. Hearing none, tutoring. Any questions about that?
Just go quick while everybody's still frozen.
Okay, hearing none. Teacher aides, paraprofessionals, non-certified. Hearing none. Any questions, comments? All right, great. So we'll bring these back to the table in January and either adopt or kick to the curb, as the case may be. And because these are all recommended and not required, correct? Sue and Lisa?
No, I don't remember which one
Right.
required, but I think most of them are recommended.
Got it. Okay. All right. Next order.
They're all recommended.
Okay.
Thank you very much, everyone. The next order of business is our administrative reports. Our principal report presented by Mr. John Conklin this evening. You're muted, Bubba.
Grateful that Stephanie was very specific and thorough in her principal's report. You all have a copy of it. If you need help with some stuff later on, I can help explain it to you, but I'm kind of going to go through this as Stephanie did have a chance to really talk to me about this. So last week, November 11th, we had a great professional learning day. Everybody did a deep dive in a ton of different topics. One of the more important ones was work with Carolyn Corrado and the work in our work on diversity, equity, and inclusion. Some very uncomfortable conversations, yet she provided a real safe and supportive environment for those things to occur. In terms of teaching and learning, vertical teaming around aligning curriculum, instruction, and assessment to help our kids transition from grade to grade as we come out of the impact that COVID had on teaching and learning. Fast bridge training for our data coordinators. They were able to take questions generated by our teachers and give them to a consultant to figure out how to best use Fast Bridge as a tool to produce assessments and reports that really specifically identify learning needs in our kids. Goal setting, teachers had a chance to continue the goal setting process and talk to Stephanie and I. Stephanie and I made it one of our goals this year to make sure that teachers focus on evidence-based and data-driven goals, not only as a baseline, but as a means of showing continual improvement throughout the year and helping the kids transition into next year, and also trying to integrate the practice of academic rigor to a greater extent as well. Grade 4 and 5 had a really great conversation on grading and homework, talking about the role of learning practices and habits of mind and how that language has has definitely become a part of the learning community here at Salisbury Central. And because it's grades 4 and 5, we're starting to see the impact of that as these kids transition into the middle school 6th graders. And they also had a really great conversation on formative versus summative assessment. Mm-hmm. And one of the big positives of the day was some of us had the opportunity to talk about Salisbury Central ski program. And it's going to happen, we believe. It's just a matter of working out the COVID logistics there, bus transportation, etc. December 8th, PL is going to be focused on more of the same. Middle school is going to do the deep dive in their data team analysis of student progress. I understand Scott and Stephanie had the chance to meet to talk about one of the concerns, and that's our math test scores. And I do know from that conversation, because Stephanie and I also integrated this into our administrative goals for this year as well. An alignment between the math PLCs, math data teams, the leadership team, classroom teachers, and instructional coaches. So it's going to be kind of a 5-pronged attack here to address, to look at evidence, figure out what the learning gaps are, and the best means to get back up to speed here. School climate and culture, 2 big takeaways for any of you who participated in it were the Halloween parade and the Veterans Day Assembly. For the first time in so long, I think things felt normal. Parents were actually standing on the sidelines, cheering on, and it was just nice to feel and experience what Salisbury Central always is, which is the nexus of our entire community. As you can see on pages 2 and 3 of Stephanie's report, there's a lot going on in the classrooms. I think the teachers are all challenging themselves to figure out how do we, last year we did a tremendous amount of time and energy on social emotional learning. We need to, again, get back into the academic rigor part. So how do we do that responsibly and not shirk the needs of the kids in the social emotional arena as well. And the last part, data and assessment, as I mentioned before, Stephanie and I are well aware that we have work to do. While the data reports from the fast bridge testing indicate that things are good, I think Natalia referenced earlier that we can always be better. And I think a measure of our success as a school here is figuring out how do we continue to gather evidence to show continual improvement in our kids. And I believe that is Stephanie's report in a nutshell.
Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
Any questions that John might be able to answer?
All right, bye.
Go ahead.
What's math PLC?
Professional learning community. It's the opportunity for the math teachers across the region to get together to share best practice, review curriculum, take a look at formative and summative assessments. Unfortunately, due to COVID, a lot of that's done virtually now, as we're doing now. But I do know across the board, if you were to ask teachers, they had to draw theirs and pick the most effective use of their professional learning time would be participating in PLCs with their teammates across the region.
Any other questions, comments? Scott, I'm very excited that you're jumping in and giving us kind of a little kickstart. I understand you're imminently qualified. Maybe, yeah, maybe. So thank you for taking that on. We appreciate it. Any other questions? Hearing none, we will move on to the superintendent's report. Ms. Carter.
Okay, so I started my report by saying goodbye and thank you to the board members who have left, but they've already left Salisbury Central, so I'll be writing them a note. But I also want to say, well, a warm, very warm welcome to Liz and to Tom, and thanks for taking this on. It's a great board, it's a great school, and being on a board it's a great community service. So welcome, and I look forward to working with you. Moving on next to the more somber news of the COVID cases. Last month, we had 33 throughout the region, and they continued last month to originate with adults. then it would go through families. So we ended up, continue to end up having these sort of isolated COVID positive pods of families where the adults who are out and about in the world kind of bring it into the house and it goes through the household. Now, with this latest advent of the Cornwall cases that I'm sure you've all read, that seems to possibly have started at community celebrations. And so we all need to be really, really careful of those. I think there were several Halloween celebrations where people were not wearing masks and trading candy and all kinds of things. We can't really pinpoint it down to that, but a lot of the evidence points to that kind of thing. And we think because so many students ended up becoming infected, we did have some in-school transmission in the middle school. And so that's why the 5th, 6th, and 7th grades are closed for distance learning for the next 10 days. And that we hope that we've contained it. There were no positive cases reported today. The letter that you got today were from positive cases that were reported over the weekend. So hopefully they're back into coming back into a normal operating mode there. Screening for COVID-19. I will say that also last week's screening, 3 of the schools, Cornwall, Kent, I believe, and North Canaan, yielded positive asymptomatic cases from the screening. So it probably is a good thing that we're continuing to do this screening by the parents who are participating, and those students, of course, are out until for the quarantine period. Vaccination clinics for adults are done for the near term. We've shifted gears, and this is a little bit different than what's in my report. We had our last clinic last Friday. We've shifted gears now to focus on pediatric clinics, and each of the elementary schools will be hosting its own pediatric clinic. So you should be looking for the announcement of the date for Salisbury Central so that the parents can sort of stay after school if they need to and have their children have access to the vaccination. So we're hoping that that will promote that throughout the region. I am very sad to say goodbye to have said goodbye to Tony Ramsharon. She was my secretary for all the years that I was assistant superintendent, and such a joyous and happy presence in the office, and also extremely competent. But she has a young daughter that she wants to spend more time with, and so we wish her all the best. And we've welcomed Gail Caruso, who's been in the region for a very long time, and she's very happy to be part of our team, and we're happy to have her as part of our team. So that's who you will be talking to when you call the central office. For the rest, I think it's all pretty self-explanatory. Anne's got a report from the middle school athletics, which I think, with the exception of the transportation, which is, is a problem and is impacted again by COVID. I think for our first season in the midst of kind of challenging times, went as well or better than it could have given the circumstances. And we're looking forward to just making improvements to that program. Your annual reports for all the towns have been submitted. I'm happy to answer any questions about what I submitted for Salisbury, and the rest was all taken care of earlier in the agenda. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Hearing none, thank you, Lisa, very much.
I'm sorry, it's all COVID news.
Yeah.
At some point to get to talk about some other things.
Yeah. Let's hope. Fantastic. Thank you, Lisa. The assistant superintendent's report.
So I'll start with, I will start with the first thing in our report, which is about curriculum. And as you know, we've been working on 2 curricular areas, primarily this summer and then into the school year, K-12 counseling curriculum and social studies. So we'll continue to go down those 2 paths. On the next district-wide professional learning day, there will be time set aside for the social studies teachers to meet with representatives from Ed Advance who are doing the writing, so that the social studies curriculum will be hopefully completed by the beginning of the next school year. And counseling is working on theirs. Essentially, they have a day a month where they get together. Part of that time is spent working on those two curricula. The more interesting piece, the more exciting piece right now is we have worked with Atlas Rubicon, which is our curriculum repository, and one of those. And we now have public access, or will be soon able to create public access to the curricula. So all of the schools will be able to post on their websites a link to our curriculum site and see what the curriculum is for any grade level and any course. We're starting with the ones that have been most recently revised, which would be ELA K8, Math K8, and then some of the ELA courses, the English courses at the high school, and some of the math courses at the high school are also in that list, as long as they have standards and standards indicated in the curriculum and learning targets in the curriculum. So you should start to see that. We're hoping for about a mid-January implementation of that across the region. And we're hoping that will allow parents and other stakeholders, people who might be wanting to move into town and check out what it is that we actually teach in the schools, they'll be able to see that information right in front of them, and elicit questions if those are important to them. And then the other thing that I'll mention, and only at this meeting, and John's already sort of started to talk about it, Stephanie and I met last week, or earlier this week, one or the other, to talk about math and the math scores, and a couple of strategies that we perhaps can use to look at that data really critically, but also to help teachers to ensure that they are implementing the programs that we have with fidelity, and to look at places where perhaps we need to bulk up some of the mathematical understandings of both the kids and potentially some teachers who may be teaching things that are things they've never seen before. So we want to make sure that we're providing the professional learning, Natalia, in the subject area, in addition to providing professional learning about how to teach the subject, so that they both understand the mathematics and understand how to teach it. And we think that Stephanie and I kind of agreed that that was probably a way to help those scores to start to go up a little bit. So we hopefully will be starting that in the coming weeks, and we won't see any real results until later on, but the plans that Stephanie and I have had made, I think are going to result in some changes, and then we'll roll it out to the rest of the districts, hopefully. We had a fantastic conversation. It was great.
And I'll just highlight one other thing, or perhaps just connect the dots a little bit. So you heard Lisa talking in her goals about the tracking of data and the multi-tiered systems of support. And to that end, we have been finally able to get some training time in for both staff and administrators on using EduClimber, which again is our data warehouse. And it's a way that we can look at a comprehensive collection of data to draw some conclusions about both individual student needs of groups of students, and perhaps needs of students as a whole. So we actually had a training this afternoon for our administrators, and our interventionists were able to meet with a trainer 2 weeks ago now. And I think we're all glad to have that underway, and imagine that you will be seeing a bit more of that as board meetings progress and we have data to report out. So I would imagine that our next screening window is in January, or January, beginning of February. So I would imagine the data following that you'll probably see coming out of that tool, because it just is such a powerful way to look at that information. I think everything else is probably clear enough, but if you have questions, we would gladly take them.
Any questions for Scott or Jill? Hearing none, thank you very much, both of you. And we are moving on now to an anticipated executive session for the purposes of discussing an early retirement incentive that might be offered to our certified staff. So I would certainly entertain a motion to enter into executive session. I would suggest that we invite in Mr. Bucieri, Lisa Carter, and Mr. John Conklin to guide us through the ramifications of what we might offer. Is that a really bad lag? Yeah, sorry. So I entertain that motion. Thank you, Natalia. Thank you, Jackie.
Coming back to
discussion?
this, right?
I'm
Dave,
sorry?
we are coming back to this meeting.
Yes,
though,
we will
right?
come back to this meeting to conclude the meeting, and if there is action that comes, we're going to have executive session.
You need a
Any,
vote, David.
yeah, sorry.
You need a vote.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
We have the motion. Any further discussion? All those in favor of entering into executive session for the purposes of discussing an early retirement incentive, inviting in John Conklin, Lisa Carter, and Sue Bucieri, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Okay, great. We'll see you guys in the other room. Sue's going to put up a link. Well, you guys probably Zoom
We have a link?
as much as we do. Sue's going to give us a breakout room to jump into.
Okay, thank
So
you.
everybody just click join and we'll see you over there. What's up? Almost done. 5 minutes. I'm gonna end the meeting now. Huh. Oh, I hit the wrong thing. There we are. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to our regularly scheduled event. Having had a robust discussion and not anticipating any action, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is public comment on agenda items. Is there any public comment this evening on agenda items? Hearing none, I would certainly entertain a motion to adjourn. Thank you, Barrett. Thank you, Jackie, for a second. Any discussion? All those in favor of adjournment, say aye. Opposed, abstaining? Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you again, Tom. Welcome. Liz had to jump to dorm duty, but I thank her also. And thank you for your time. I know we ran a little over what we like to do, but good talk.
Great.
All right, see everybody soon.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great Thanksgiving.
Yeah, have a great
Yes.
Thanksgiving.
Thanks, everybody.
Yes, you too. Bye.
Bye.